Morning, guys. Morning, and happy December the 7th. If you don't know what happened today, then let me let you know. Goodreads released their best of 2023 books. There's a multitude of categories. I'm not going to cover all of them because 3 or 4 of the categories I don't really even read in, but I'm going to talk about the ones that I do read in. We've got some crispy ice water this morning. And I was shocked how many in certain categories I had not read the top 3 of. And I was not surprised in some of the categories where I've read 90% of the top 10. So there's that. But yeah, let's get started. I have notes behind me. So if you see me glancing behind me, that's my notes. But the first category on the little drop-down list was fiction. And I'm going to be honest, I have not read either of the top 3 fiction books according to Goodreads for the year. Now, this is a fan voted. Let me put that out there. This is fan voted. And the reason why I put that out there is because a lot of people sometimes have issue with representation in this particular competition. You're going to see a lot of straight Caucasian fiction in these categories, winning at least, right? And yeah, I would love to see a little bit more representation. There was quite a few books I was shocked not to see on there or anywhere on there. And we'll delve into that a little bit too. But first, let's just do the list. So I was surprised I had not read any of the top 3 fiction novels for the year voted on by Goodreads readers. The first one is on my TBR though, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I have read other stuff by R.F. Kuang. I read Poppy War. It's on my TBR. I just haven't gotten to it quite yet. But I definitely see why that won the most popular by a landslide, by like a lot of votes. Yellowface won. And the next one was Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitana. And the other one's The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. Neither of those are anywhere on my radar. So if you have read any of those 3 books, please let me know how good they are, because I had heard of Yellowface, obviously it's on my TBR. I had not heard of Hello Beautiful or The Wishing Game. Historical fiction, I was not at all surprised to see Wayward win number 1 for that category. It is also on my TBR. I just have not gotten to it yet. It also won Best Debut Novel. So mad props to Wayward, because no other book took in 2 categories. So obviously that's a really big achievement. The second was The Covenant of Water, and the third was Lady Tan's Circle of Women. I have heard about The Covenant of Water. It's on my TBR. I have not heard of Lady Tan's Circle of Women, but I'm going to look into it because it sounds good. Romance. I definitely read the number 1 book in romance, which was Emily Henry's Happy Place. Should it have been number 1? I don't know. People have a lot of issue with Emily Henry's writing. I read everything she puts out. Emily Henry, I think, is great. I want to do a video soon once I get all of my words properly organized and I want to say on the topic. You have to set yourself up with certain expectations when you read a book, okay? You cannot, and I consistently seeing it happen, you cannot go into an Emily Henry novel and expect the kind of work that you would get from a Martin, a Sanderson, a author who obviously, you know, isn't writing romance novels, okay? Yeah, there are some really well written romance novels out there, but those generally aren't the most popular. So take it with a grain of salt. I was shocked actually to see how he placed at number one, but not shocked. Because I did read it and I did enjoy it. Emily Henry never fails to make me cry. If I want a romance novel where I just ugly cry at the end of it, probably, I'm going to go Emily Henry. Love Theoretically. This is number 2 in the romance category. Allie Hazelwood. Allie Hazelwood's got 2 books in the top 3 in this Goodreads. I'm not surprised by that either. I've read Love Theoretically. I love Allie Hazelwood. I like her a little bit more than Emily Henry. So I'm not shocked to see her at number 2. Once again, I know people don't love the way that she writes. I love these STEM novels that she's been doing. So really excited to see that. And Yours Truly, I have not read. And it is not currently on my TBR. I may end up putting it on my TBR, but it's a book 2 in a series, and I haven't read the first one yet either. So of those, 1 and 2 I read and loved. I have not read book 3. The number 10 is sitting right here on my desk, which is Wildfire. It's the sequel to Icebreaker. That is number 10 on the romance list, and it's literally the next book that I'm reading. So, did a little bit better in the romance category than some of the others. Romantasy. This is the section where I've read like 90% of the top 10. The top 3 in Romantasy were Fourth Wing. We know how I feel about Fourth Wing. I loved Fourth Wing. Assistant to the Villain, I just read that one. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really quirky and really cute. I wanted a little bit more plot, but it was fine. It was really cute. I think it's definitely written for a certain person, and I think my cousin up in Michigan is that person, and so I'm letting her borrow that book. So yeah, that was great. Ashes and the Star-Crossed King, you guys. I just preached on this series because I just finished Ashes and the Star-Crossed King. It's a duology. It is so good. The first book is Serpent and the Wings of Night. Ashes and the Star-Crossed King is book 2. I fucking loved. I would not have been upset to see Ashes and the Star-Crossed King as number 2, but I am really excited to see it at number 3 because, like I said, both of these books are on Kindle Unlimited, and so you can read them for free. And I thought that they were really, really excellent. In fantasy, I was disappointed. I say I was disappointed because Tress in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson took number 2 spot. I definitely think it should have been number 1, but I cannot say that with 1,000% certainty because the number 1 book I have not read, and that's Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. It is the sequel to Ninth House, and I know that there's a lot of freaking people that love the Ninth House, but I've also seen on TikTok a lot of people that weren't as happy with Hellbent as they were with the Ninth House. So here's where it pisses me off. Because Tress in the Emerald Sea, or Tress of the Emerald Sea, is brilliant. Brilliant work. It was my favorite book of 2023. If Hellbent was not a brilliant piece of work, if you took issue with it, but because you love this series, or because you love this author, you voted for this book, that's not the way it's supposed to go. Okay? Because you love Ninth House, you voted for Hellbent, even though the sequel didn't live up to the hype of the first book. It won over Tress, and that's not fair to Tress. Number 2 is still a really great placement, but Tress of the Emerald Sea is my favorite fantasy novel of the year. So there's that. A Day of Fallen Night came in at 3. Was not surprised because that author, Samantha Shannon, has a really strong following. Priory of the Orange Tree was my favorite book, I think, of 2022, or at least one of them. But I didn't love A Day of Fallen Night. I think I've told you guys that. But it is good to see some LGBTQ representation. There's been a few books peppered through here that have had it. One that was missing that I just got done reading was Laura Sebastian's Stardust in Their Veins. I was really disappointed not to see that anywhere on the list because that was really excellent. I really enjoyed it. And you guys know I put that one off for like a month and a half. It was sitting on my desk from the library. And I kept renewing the loan and I kept not reading it because I fucked up. And I read the Ash Princess trilogy between Castles in Their Bones and Stardust in Their Veins because I wanted more from this author. And I was waiting for the library to give me Stardust in Their Veins. And I fucked up because I didn't love the Ash Princess trilogy as much as I loved Castles in Their Bones. So then I became less excited to read Stardust in Their Veins because I was like, well, what if it disappoints me like the Ash Princess trilogy did? What if it drags like the Ash Princess trilogy did? It did not. It was excellent. I'm pissed that it sat on my desk for so long without me reading it. I read that Joker in like 6 hours, and it's a 500-page book. Could not freaking put it down. That is so good. Stardust in Their Veins. Okay, it was not anywhere on these lists though, so that's a bummer. Okay, Bookshops and Bone Dusts. I was excited to see it number 4 in the fantasy section. That is on my shelf back there. Have not gotten to read it yet. It will be read before the end of 2023. It is on my December must read before the New Year list. Just haven't gotten to it quite yet. Murder Mystery, The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden took the first spot. Really freaking excited to see that for Frida McFadden. She is another Kindle Unlimited author. I didn't even see her books on the shelves until recently. So happy for her. That one is well deserved, and I was so excited to see it. None of This Is True came in at number 2, and I was shocked by that. Because I read this one, and I didn't absolutely love it. It was okay. I think I gave it a 3.5 to a 4-star rating. It was not my absolute favorite mystery thriller that I've read this year. Really surprised that none of this is true. It was the crime drama one where the woman has a crime podcast. So, and the only one left. So, haven't read that one. Don't know a whole lot about that one. Young adult fantasy. Was not shocked to see the number 1 book being Divine Rivals. I've read Divine Rivals. I love Divine Rivals. I am in a predicament, unfortunately, because a lot of people are boycotting St. Martin's Press because they said some really ugly, really nasty things. Well, one of the employees did, not St. Martin's Press. The sequel to Divine Rivals is coming out in the next few weeks. It's supposed to be a major, major sequel, major, major release. I want to freaking read it, but it is being published by St. Martin's Press. So, I'm probably not going to do a video on it, and whether or not I choose to purchase this book is going to be my own personal business, but I do not think I will be doing a video promoting it and talking about it. I digress. We don't get political on this channel. A Curse of True Love by Stephanie Garber. Have not read that one. Stolen Air by Holly Black at number 3. I have read a lot of Holly Black stuff. Have not read this new series yet, but I heard it's pretty good, so it's probably going on my TBR. The number 5 and 6 are high on my TBR, which is What the River Knows by Isabella Ibanez, I believe it is. I'm sorry if I messed that up. And then A Study in Drowning. A Study in Drowning, I think, is going to be my first read of 2024 because I really want to set the tone in January with some dark academia. Obsessed with that genre right now. So it is going to be high on my TBR for January. And the last category that we're going to talk about is the last one that I really read from these awards, and that's young adult fiction. Allie Hazelwood got number 1 in this one and took number 2 in romance. So I was super happy for her. Checkmate, which I own and have not read yet, it's on my TBR, took the first place for young adult fiction. The Brothers Hawthorne, which is the 3rd book in the Inheritance game, took the 2nd place. I read Inheritance Game and I DNF'd the series. It was not for me. There was too many plot holes in it, but it is young adult fiction, so I read some crazy shit when I was young, so maybe it's totally the young adult genre. 5 Survive, I have not read or heard about, so I might look into that one. It fell in at number 3 for young adult fiction. Number 4, I was shocked, is One of Us is Back by Karen McManus. I read One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Dead. I loved both of those. I didn't even know there was another one out. This is how I found out. So I will be adding that to my TBR for next year. And Warrior Girl Unearthed came in at number 6. You guys absolutely know I loved Firekeeper's Daughter by the same author. I read that one last year. Warrior Girl Unearthed is high on my TBR, and I want to read it soon. There you go. There's your like rapid fire review of what I thought of the top 3 in most of the Goodreads categories. There's also memoirs and nonfiction and humor. I don't read those categories. I would have had nothing to say about the books that were published in those categories, so I didn't review them. But yeah, tell me what you think of the Goodreads top books of 2023, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.